Hi, my name is Jamie and today I will be talking about sign language. Up until this point, the majority of the clients that I have worked with have had a verbal means of communicating their wants and needs with others. However, I often utilize differential reinforcement and shaping procedures to work on more appropriate and complex verbal behaviors in my clients in the form of commands or requests, tacts, and intraverbal skills. Because this assignment required us to look at augmented as well as alternative form of communication, I am choosing to talk about sign language. The client that I will be referring to throughout this video was a 3.5-year-old boy diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. He had a twin brother who was also on the spectrum, though his brother readily imitated verbal speech and was already manding for preferred items or activity at onset of treatment using one-word mands. My client did not have any verbal speech at the beginning of treatment. He spent the majority of his session time engaging in self-stimulatory behaviors and would engage in maladaptive behavior when given little access to his reinforcer or denied access to his reinforcers. So prior to introducing more complex skills in receptive or expressive language with this client, our main goal was to target communication, since the verbal behavior approach is the foundation of my treatment session. Targeting communication would not only provide the client with a means of requesting items, but it would also assist staff in identifying motivating operations or MOs and to deliver reinforcers more effectively. So we first started out by using sign language with this client. The procedure first required staff to present or entice the client with a reinforcer. This client particularly enjoyed cookies, so this would sometimes look like us holding up a cookie for the client and seeing if he would either emit a vocal approximation by saying k or e, or demonstrating the sign, which was like this. If the client were to emit a vocal approximation or sign for the item, we would immediately provide access to the item and praise. If the client did not respond to the initial presentation of the reinforcer or would reach for that reinforcer, we would model the sign and pair it with the word. So, cookie. If the client didn't respond appropriately to the model and the vocal prompt, staff were to provide most to least prompting in the form of physical prompts. Once a client was successful on 5 consecutive prompts at a particular phase, so for example, accepting manipulation of his hands for full physical prompt 5 times, we would then attempt to fade our prompts, providing lesser and lesser intrusive prompts, with our goal in independence or an independent response. So one reason why this communication system was selected was through the discussion with parents. The parents would prefer, or did prefer, that less materials would be involved, so they didn't have to spend money on the PECS binder or pictures or materials in that sense. In addition, they thought that it would be an easier form of communication taught not only to line staff members but also to the client, because it didn't have all those phases. And the last thing we considered was the client's imitation skill, because he did have some imitation skills that were present at the onset of treatment. However, this program did not work for him. He became increasingly dependent on prompts, and we eventually switched over to a picture exchange communication system for this client.